So I think we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Andy Russell. I'm a manager of housing for safety and security. And I also I'm the one that set up our housing application online. So I'm going to help walk you through the online housing application.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Cassidy Nelson. I'm the Associate Director of Residence Life. I'm really excited to be joining you guys today to talk about housing overview. If you haven't taken the poll yet, we're going to be closing that in about 60 seconds. So go ahead and get that in. Let's see what you guys want to talk about this morning while we still have some folks jump on. Just a little bit about housing and residence life specifically. We have 6 residential communities, the majority of which are suite style communities. And so we'll be talking a little bit about each one of those communities today. You can stay with us for all 4 years of your residential career and forever long you're at West Georgia. We're so excited to have you with us. We have Dylan that has just showed me the poll. So a lot of you guys want to hear about just an overview of housing, what we have to offer, what are maybe the next step in the application process. A couple of you guys want to hear about how do I pick my roommate, which is still open today if you've completed your contract and paid your application fee. And how do you pick your room? Something that we offer at West Georgia is you get to select your own room, which is really unique. You get to log in and you can see what's available to you in all of our facilities. And so why don't we start off talking a little bit about each of our facilities and what they have to offer to you, okay? If at any time you have any questions, there is a chat feature, and so you can privately message us. And so we'll try to get to those questions at the end of our time together, okay? All right, so let's jump in and talk a little bit about each of our facilities. So I want to talk about Bowden Hall first. So Bowden Hall is our traditional style facility on campus. It would be you and your roommate. And if you go to our website, and you can look exactly where I'm looking right now, it's westga.edu/housing. From there, you can go and you can tour each of our residence halls. And Andy's going to be sharing his screen with us right now to give us a little tour of what I'm talking about. So if we click on residence halls up here at the top, click on Bowden Hall, and you can actually get a virtual tour of all of our facilities that we have. Super fun videos that we've created. And so you get to watch all of that and get to see what each of the rooms look like, some of the amenities. So Bowden Hall obviously has a cozy community lobby area and a community style kitchen. I would say this about Bowden Hall. Bowden Hall won our Battle of the Halls this year, which is an amazing event that we do during Welcome Week and Pack Premiere. And so that is an opportunity where people get to come together and really build their community. And Bowden Hall has the fiercest community out of all 6 of ours. That is just a sense of pride that I've not seen anywhere else. They have an amazing.
And I would add to that, Cassie, we have a survey we do every year where we, at the end of the year, ask the residents about their experience in the residence halls. And some of the questions we asked are about how connected they felt to other people, how they felt like the residence hall benefited their academics support. And Bowden Hall, I at West Georgia for almost 5 years, and every time we've done that survey, Bowden Hall has had the most engaged, most satisfied residents at the end of the year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's just a little bit about Bowden Hall, some other amenities. All of our facilities do feature laundry. And Bowden Hall, what's unique about Bowden is it has a movie room. And so you can plug in your gaming systems there. It has wonderful lounge furniture. And we actually are redoing the outdoor lobby area right now. And so we're going to have a really cool outdoor patio feel, almost like your parents' house. So you can go out there, you can lounge, have some cute lights hanging up. So just kind of make it feel at home. So that's a little bit about Bowden Hall. Let me jump next into the Oaks. The Oaks is our newest residential facility. And if you've been on campus yet, you likely went on a campus tour and you saw this facility. It is a suite style facility. And so you and your roommate would share a bathroom together. So just the 2 of you guys for a room. It offers a community kitchen, just like Bowden. And it also has in-hall laundry, like I've said. It has a multi-purpose room. So some classes are actually taught inside of Bowden Hall. And so that's something that makes it a little bit unique. It has 2 lobby areas. And so we have pool tables in all of our facilities. It has beautiful lounges on each floor inside the hall. We have some large ones for group gatherings. And so you can watch TV in there. They all have television, so you can plug in those gaming systems again. And then we have some smaller ones on the ends of the hall, so you can do some private studying, because sometimes you just need to get out of your room and put your headphones on and go sit and read and study. And so we have all of that within Bowden Hall. So here's a layout of what that looks like. All of our rooms, we provide the bed frame, the bed, a desk chair, and a wardrobe, and a chest of drawers. And then when our suite style facilities, we do provide that 3-piece bathroom. So a shower, a toilet, and then a sink, excuse me. Another selling feature of Bowden Hall, you don't have to clean your bathroom. We clean that for you. In all of our suite style facilities, you do have to clean your own bathroom for places like the Oaks. Let's jump into Centerpoint next, because it is the big brother to the Oaks. So Centerpoint looks exactly like the Oaks. It's just a little bit larger, and it's 1 year older. So it offers a lot of the same amenities, really amazing lounge spaces and TV spaces. It has a huge multi-purpose room. So when you get involved into some student organizations on campus, a lot of student organizations actually utilize Centerpoint for their group meetings. So if you wanted to have a movie night with your friends, you'll get with your RA so you can use those spaces and reserve them on campus. But again, it's a suite style facility, so it's going to have that same features like I already talked about in the Oaks. One of the unique features for the Centerpoint area is this outdoor patio that you're seeing right now. Gas grill, which you guys have all access to. And so it has awesome patio furniture, so you can just kind of lounge and hang out. We have beautiful weather in Carrollton, so it's a great opportunity to just kind of hang outside, study, do what you will. Another cool feature is that it actually has a market. And so if you use dining dollars, you can actually go into the market and get a drink on your way to class or go get some snacks. It's very much like a convenience store. Next that I'll talk about
also,
is, go ahead, Andy.
Let me jump in on Centerpoint. I ran Centerpoint for 2 years when I first got my job at West Georgia when I got out of school. And a cool thing about Centerpoint is right behind that patio, there is the Carrollton Greenbelt, which the Carrollton Greenbelt is a 22-mile paved path all around Carrollton that you can walk, run, bike. There is a bike share on the Greenbelt on campus where the bikes are free for students to use. And that is an amenity that you won't find in any college town. Carrollton is unique in that Greenbelt, especially having it run right through the middle of campus, right behind Centerpoint Suites. So another great amenity.
Absolutely. Next up that's available for first-year students would be University Suites. I like to say that University Suites takes Centerpoint and allows you to live with more people. So it is still considered a suite-style facility. So it's you and your roommate, and then you share a unit with another set of roommates, and then there are 2 bathrooms. And so we're seeing that right now on our screens. If you want to watch it a little bit slower, what's unique is that out of that is that kitchenette feature. So it's an apartment-sized refrigerator and a sink, and that way you have space to where you can do a little bit more cooking than you can in the Oaks or Centerpoint. It also has a movie room, and it has a much larger community kitchen. It's also home to our Housing Academic Resource Center. This is a space where we bring in academic coaches and tutors to help you really study and get prepared for life at West Georgia in the classroom. And so people that utilize that have seen great strides in their GPAs because they've been able to work with someone one-on-one. We partner with the Center for Academic Success to provide those tutors. And so that's a really great feature to help students get prepared for classes, or maybe just get a little extra help in some of those core classes like English or writing. So that's a little bit about that. Centerpoint and University Suites are right next to each other, and they're easily, very conveniently located to the Z6 dining hall, whereas Bowden and the Oaks are most closely, the closest to East Commons. And so they have 2 dining halls that are available on campus. That brings me in a little bit about meal plans. A couple of you guys wanted to hear about meal plans. Meal plans are open for fall 2020. All residential freshmen do have to have a meal plan that is required. And so Andy's going to show where you can take a look at our meal plans. We have a lot of options for students. And so make sure you browse it and take a look. You know, if you're a 3 squares a day person, you love breakfast, I would really encourage you to look at that all access plan because it's going to provide you the most flexibility in what you're able to do. In addition to some dining halls, we do have some quick service places. We have a Chick-fil-A on campus, which is amazing. It just got redone and it's absolutely beautiful. And it actually does custom orders. And so you go to a kiosk and you type in your order and then they call it your name. So it's very much like going to the Chick-fil-A's in town. We also have a grill station. We have Lobos, which is a Mexican style eatery. And so it's got nachos and tacos and quesadillas. So a lot of different options in addition to the markets that I mentioned earlier, where you can go in and just grab a drink or grab a Pop-Tart on the way to class. And so lots of different options, like I said. Looks like we had one chat come in, and it said, how far are they from the classes in your opinion in terms of minutes? So it depends on where that is going to be at, like where your classes are going to be at. If you're an education major, Centerpoint and University Suites are going to be phenomenal for you because they are so close to the Ed Center. There's actually a walking path to the Ed Center, the Education Center. So you can take those classes. And so here you can see Andy's cursor is going to go over Centerpoint and University Suites. It's also very close to biology. So my STEM people, biology is going to be your kind of be your home away from home taking classes. And so Centerpoint University Suites are great options for that. The Oaks, and I would say that's less than a 5-minute walk, more like 2 to 4 minutes. And I have very little legs, so I'm 5'2", so my walking time is slow. And then if you jump over to the east side of campus, Andy, we'll see that the Oaks and Bowden are closest to our academic quad. I would say that they are probably, again, a 5-minute walk to the TLC, which is where you'll actually have a lot of our orientation sessions at this year. It's close to the campus center. If you're in Central Campus, I would say it probably takes 10 minutes to walk to class over into the TLC, and same thing with the campus center. All that's really centrally located to campus. And so those are all the buildings we have that are available for freshman students. Some other facilities that you could look forward to living with us for the rest of your career would be the Village for our fraternity and sorority students and our students in student organizations. And so that's available on our website for you to see and take a tour of. And the other option would be Arborview. And Arborview is our apartment style facility. It's 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom units, and they offer private bedrooms. So it's a private room and you share that bathroom with one other person in your suite. And you guys could take those virtual tours, but those are not available to first-year students. But if I have any transfer students on my call today, that is available to you. So make sure, and we do still have spaces available in all the facilities that we've talked about today. Housing is a first-come, first-served basis for selecting your room. So if you have not done your housing contract yet, make sure you jump on and do that. It's a $150 application fee, and that gives you access to our contract. You'll sign that contract, and then a couple days later, we'll send you an email for when you can actually select that room. And Andy's showing us on the screen right now where you can actually apply through our homepage. So if you click on that, you do have to be an admitted student to apply, so you must have gotten accepted through the institution. And then from there, you can apply for housing. Any other questions about a housing overview or a fun fact about any of the halls maybe that you want to know or anything like that before we jump into room selection? Dylan, can you do a quick poll for me? Dylan from Admissions is joining us. I want to know how many people on the call have actually completed their housing contract. And while we do that,
which hall is the biggest?
Yeah,
which hall is the biggest? All the halls are actually about the same size. Centerpoint is definitely the biggest. It is everyone's big brother. The University Suites, for instance, is 3 separate buildings that are all very close together in one community. And those 3 buildings added together are the same size as Centerpoint. Oaks and Bowden are right next to each other, and them added together is about the same size as Centerpoint. So when you look at the areas of campus that kind of work together, we have about the same kind of spread of students across different areas of campus, but Centerpoint is the bigger building. Are there any curfews we should know about? No, we do not have any curfews for our residents. Residents can come and go 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with a couple exceptions around holidays and breaks when we do ask you to go home for a week. Thanksgiving, winter break, and spring break. There are limitations on when you can have guests over. So in our first year communities, your guests have to leave by 2 a.m. every night. That'd be the only thing, anything like a curfew. But again, that's just for guests. And it's not until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Sebastian, don't worry if you haven't started anything yet. We still have space available. And so I really encourage you guys to get in and apply today if you haven't yet. I know some people might be worried right now about, well, what if we don't have on-campus classes in the fall, right? And I think that's a natural concern with everything that's going on right now. So what I have is that if for some reason we have all online classes in the fall, our $150 application fee is refundable. And that is only if the university moves to an all online course schedule for the fall. So if that is one of your concerns, I hope that eases a little bit of your mind. Now on to Maya. Maya has asked, are there quiet hours? Yes, Maya, there are quiet hours. We do have quiet hours during the week. Those look a little bit differently than on the weekends, and those are available on our website, but you'll go over that in our floor meeting. That first floor meeting that you have on campus that night, it's going to be so important. There are always 24-hour courtesy hours, and I want to introduce you guys to that concept now. Just because that new Drake album just dropped doesn't mean you can blast it on a 32. Your neighbors are still studying during the day, right? And so we just want to be respectable of their time and their space while they're doing that. And so we encourage you guys to build relationships with those neighbors so you can have those conversations with them. So Thailand, I think I answered your question a little bit ago. You wanted to know about a refund if we're all online for the fall. So we talked about that. Emily wanted to know, is there a policy for overnight guests? Yes, Emily, there is a policy for overnight guests. And so you do have to have permissions from your roommates to have overnight guests, and there's a form that you'll fill out. They must register with us, so they have to bring either a state-issued ID or a passport so we can get them registered. And that way they can, we know who they are. Your roommates have to sign off on it that you're going to have overnight guests. That's going to be really important. And they can't stay more than 3 nights in a 7-day period. And those are kind of the biggest policies that we have. Hey, Grace, thanks for joining us. Grace said, can I mention the first year student housing? Grace, your best bet is going to be jump on our website and look at the Oaks, Bowden, Centerpoint, and University Suites. Those are the 4 areas that, that first year students can live in next fall. All right. Looks like over half of you guys have actually done your housing contracts, and I'm so excited about that. Pay wants to know, is the Oaks still available? Heard that all the rooms are gone. Yes, we do still have some spaces available in the Oaks. Space is limited. If you are in the search for a room, we're going to talk about that next. So Andy, if you want to get that pulled up, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Andy, and I'll still monitor us for any questions. But he's going to show us how you can actually first pick a roommate rather. So let's get a roommate together, and then let's pick our room together.
All right, so if you click that big Apply Now button on our website, this is where it takes you. So when you hit the application page, you're going to need to select the application that you want to use, which there's only one choice right now, so 2020 to 2021 housing application. If you click on that, it takes you right into the application. Now, I have already started my application in this test user because I have to skip the test user past the application fee, and it's hard to do that live. So I did have to start it ahead of time and go ahead and skip the application fee. So normally when you start the application, I'll tell you where it'll ask for the fee in here. The first thing you do is you fill out just a few contact details that we don't have on you. We want to know if you have a preferred name, what your t-shirt size is, and your cell phone number. That is actually all my information, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to the next page. All right, so this is the page where it tells you about our first year residency requirement. The first year students are required to live on campus. And then if you save after that, between that page and this page is where it normally asks you for the application fee. We had a question, why do you need our shirt sizes? We like to be able to give our residents t-shirts from time to time. And it's hard for us to do that if we don't know what size shirts everyone wears. So we want to give you t-shirts. All right, so roommate profile questions. This is where you'll be able to select some different values for different questions that might help us match you to a better roommate. So I like to study in my room a couple times a week. When I study, I prefer the noise level non-existent. You can actually answer as many or as few of these questions as you want. The more questions you answer, the better the roommate matching portal will do. I'm going to click continue. Here it's going to ask you for some room preferences. Now, the room preferences page is interesting because you're going to pick your own room. And so your room preferences will only come into play if you don't pick your own room. If we have to assign you a room because you don't pick your own room, then we'll look at your preferences. So go ahead and pick a preference. I'm going to say I want center point. It's my building. I love center point. All right, now this is the page where you can pick a roommate. And that was a question we got in the chat of how exactly do you choose a roommate? This is the page where you can search for a roommate or a roommate group. So if you know someone that you want to be a roommate with, you can search for them specifically. If you want to just kind of poke around and see who's out there, you can do that. Or if one of your friends has already started a group and they, you know the name of their group, you can just look for their group by name. So if you click suggest roommates, that is kind of the most basic way to just have the application show you some people. If you're looking, you're going to look for people that have the freshman classification if you're a first-year student. If you're a transfer, you can definitely see those other classifications. The percent match is based on those profile questions. Mine are all really low because I didn't, as you saw, I didn't actually fill out the profile. If you actually fill out the profile, you'll get some pretty good profile matches. On any of these different students, you can click on View Profile, and that will show you their information, including their email address if you want to reach out to them, and how they answered all the profile questions. And then I actually have a friend in here. It's actually another test account, but I'm going to go ahead and so I know exactly what his username is. And so I'm just going to search by him, not manage group. Search for roommate by details. So again, if you have a specific friend who you know you want to room with, you can just search for them by their screen name. Here's my buddy Richard. So I'm going to click add to group. All right, and so then the system gave me an automatic group name because I didn't make one. You can edit it and give it a fun name if you want. You don't have to. And I have sent a request to Richard where he will have to go in and accept my addition of him to my roommate group. He has to go in and say, yes, I want to be in this group. But the request is sent, and he has 7 days to request that. Right, and so now, let me stop my screen share for a minute and go in and log in as my test user, Richard, and accept that roommate request so I can show you the next step in the process. Cassidy, do you want to talk about a few of the questions?
Yeah, a couple questions that came in. So one of the questions was, do we have a deadline? No, we don't have a deadline, but I encourage you to do it as soon as possible. We do assignments on a first come, first served basis, and that's also including time slots. So you're able to select the room. So the sooner you do it, the more options you have available to you. The later you wait in doing your housing contract, then the harder, you're not necessarily gonna see as many preferences or as many room types and choices. So we have a question that says, so does it matter who does it? Does the person who offered have to make the group, or could you also make the group and just still have the roommate? Andy, do you want to
So I
tackle
think
that?
I understand that question.
Okay.
As far as which of, let's say you want to be roommates with one other person. I think the question is, does it matter which one of those people creates the group and does the process? No, it does not matter. The only way it would matter is whoever starts the group is the group leader. And the group leader is the one who can choose the room for the group. And so you do want the group leader to be the person who in the group who you maybe trust the most to fill a form out. I don't know. If it was me and my friend signing up, I don't think it would matter who was in the who was the group leader. But if you have that one friend who is never going to log in and click a button, then maybe don't make it that friend. All right, so let me.
So you have to have a roommate your first year. 99.9% of first year students do have a roommate their first year. That is, we do have single rooms available, but those are saved for the most part for students with an accommodation. And so we have a lot of students that work with accessibility services that need an accommodation for various reasons.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. All right, I think we're back live. So Richard has accepted my roommate group request, and
Yay.
it's a testing user, so I just went in and accepted it. But in real life, your friend would have to log into the system and actually accept the request. I am the group leader because I created the group, and so I see the choices of remove the roommate from the group or make that person the leader. All right, we got a question here related to this. If you sent a request to a person and the group leader already chose the room, will the group leader get another roommate if the roommate hasn't picked that room yet? All right, so that's a fairly intricate question there. The roommate group process works distinctly better before anyone in the group has picked a room. If the roommate group is formed after one or more of the people have already picked a room, the system does not automatically merge them into the same room. There is a room change portal at the very end of the housing application that the users can use to then swap into the same room. So if you have any trouble with that, you can contact our office, and we have professionals in the assignments team who can help you, and just sometimes we just have to move people around for you if you get stuck in that kind of roommate group situation. All right, so but we're in a group now. Notice it says verified. If you are in a roommate group and it says not verified, it's usually because one of the group members has not completed their housing application fee. That is the test that it uses. But if you have any trouble with the verification process, the leader will see a verify group button right here. And that is a way the group leader can kind of manually trigger the verification process, and the system will double check everything. But we're in a group now, so I'm going to save and continue. Now, I also point out that the roommate group process is completely optional. You don't have to go in and form a roommate group or find a roommate. You can proceed straight through to room selection. So you don't have to pick a roommate during this step of the process. All right, and I'll save and continue. This is the page where you actually need to sign our contract. And this is a legally binding contract that lasts for 1 academic year. And I would definitely encourage you to not just click through this page. This is a contract. You should read it. It's a good habit to get into before you sign a lease anywhere, before you sign any contract, before you buy a car, before you get a loan. Read the contract. This is not the iTunes terms and conditions. Please read the contract. If you've never signed a contract before, maybe ask your parents or an older sibling or someone you trust to help you read it, make sure you understand it. It's just a really good habit to be in, to read the contract. I helped write the contract, so I've read it, so I'm going to skip on through it.
We had a quick question as you're signing that there, Andy, with your 917. It was, what is the most affordable option on our campus? And that is going to be Bowden Hall. Bowden Hall is pretty affordable in comparison to the other facilities, just because it is one of our older facilities on campus that was renovated in 2013. We had another question about service animals. Yes, service animals are allowed on campus and in housing per ADA. Yes, service animals, true service animals that perform a task that aid in a person with a disability are absolutely allowed. If you have an emotional support animal, that looks a little bit differently and requires an approval process. And so you should work with accessibility services on our campus to schedule an intake appointment. They're also available during orientations, but you're going to want to reach out to them as soon as possible because they do have a very busy summer lined up. And so you're going to want to make sure you get on their calendar now for accessibility intake.
All right. And so one second here. What I have up now is this is the last page before room selection. And so I'm just going through my test account right now, making sure it's actually going to let me get to room selection. It wasn't going to. Okay. All right, so there we go. All right, so this is just giving you some information about medical issues that could be present in the residence hall and about the Americans with Disabilities Act and accommodations. If you want any more information about the accommodations process, you can select yes, and it will send you an email with some more information. If you don't, you can click no, and it will continue the next step of the process. Now, this is where if you are just signing your housing contract for the first time, and you click Save and Continue here, it will take you to a page that says, you do not have a time slot yet. Please wait for a time slot. And it uses more words than that. But basically, once a week on Thursdays, every Thursday, we give out batches of time slots to all the people who signed the contract in the last week. And those time slots are for throughout the day on Friday. And what that process does, and the reason we assign a time slot, is it prevents a huge rush onto our housing application. And it makes it where basically our website won't crash. Now, you always have a good experience when you're choosing your room and when you're logging in. You don't get the pinwheel of doom or anything. So I have already given myself a time slot. And so when I click Save and Continue, it will take me to room selection. So this is how you actually choose a room. Now I'm the roommate group leader, and so I can choose a room for me and my roommate. If you are the roommate, if you're not the roommate group leader, you can choose a room for yourself. You cannot choose a room for your roommate group. So you have to make sure the leader does this process in order to have them select rooms for the entire group. So let's say I want to live in Center Point.
Because Andy thinks it is the best.
Oh, I love Center Point. All right, so and what it does here is it actually shows you all of the rooms in Center Point. And it shows you how many beds are in each room. So if it has a 2 with a little bed by it, that means it's a double room. So it's got 2 beds in the room. Then it says number of current occupants. And what that says is how many people have already signed up to live in that room. Now, if you're by yourself and you don't have a roommate group, you might actually want one of those rooms that has someone in it. And so you can click Show Room Info, and it will show you who the person is that is in that room. And you can click View Profile and see more information about them and how they answered the profile questions. So that is how you do that. But I have a roommate in my roommate group, so I need a room that has 2 beds available. And so I'm gonna find one that has 0. In Center Point and the Oaks, the way the room numbers work, it's a 4-digit number, and the first digit is the side of the building that it's on. So in Centerpoint in the Oaks, there's a 1,000 side and a 2,000 side. The next digit is the floor. And so this is not on the 12th floor. This is on the 1,000 side, second floor. And then the numbers just kind of count up around the building. But that has 0 people in it, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to my cart. And I'm going to save and continue. And so now it's showing me my 2 roommate group members, myself and Richard. And I have to assign us each to a bed. Now in Centerpoint and the Oaks, the A and the B don't actually matter. They're just, the computer has to keep track of the fact that there are 2 beds and that they're different. There's not an A side and a B side. But in university suites and the apartment buildings, the letters do matter. So I'm sorry, it's different like that. But in Centerpoint and the Oaks and Bowden, the double rooms, the beds are in the same room, and so the A and the B don't matter. But in university suites, there actually is an A side and a B side. And in each of those rooms, there's 2 beds. So it's A1 and 2 and B1 and 2. If you have any questions about that, we have a live chat feature on our website. We're really here to help you. But on the Centerpoint, Oaks, out in the B don't matter. Just give yourself and your roommate whichever room you want. Now, if you were just picking for yourself and you didn't have a roommate group you were tagging along with, you would not see any second person or anything down here. You would just pick this bed for yourself. And if there's only one choice and only one person, the system is smart enough to just skip this page altogether. All right, then you click Assign Beds. And then it just does the last "Are you sure?" kind of page. And then save and continue. And then, ta-da, my application is complete. It tells me my room and my roommate information right here. And again, if you picked a room with someone you didn't know or someone that wasn't in your roommate group, you would have access to their profile again on this page, so you'd be able to see who they are and make sure you'd be a good match. It tells you about your booking, tells you the summary. And then again, this is where you can go to the room change portal to change your room. If you're the roommate group leader, you can change the room for your entire roommate group. And then this is where if you've added someone to your roommate group, you can go back to the room selection page and the roommate group leader can add them to a room. Again, this is the room change and room selection, return to room selection process are the most complicated portions of the process. If you have any problems with that, please reach out to our office and we can give you a hand. But once you get to the summary page, you're done.
So we have a couple questions about the room, Andy. So if you want to address this one, it says, so I picked my room the way you said it would be tricky, where I picked my room before my roommate is in the group. Now it shows we're both in the group and that I have assigned beds. Does that mean I did everything correctly?
Yes, if on your application summary page, you see if you see yourself and your roommate and you're both in the same room, then you're done. Yes, this page is a live view of what the system shows for your room. So if you see yourself and your roommate and you like how it looks on the application summary page, you are done. You did it.
Journey has asked the question, so if I have a room and then I made a roommate group, would they automatically add them into the room?
So no, that is the part that I said was tricky. The system doesn't automatically add people into your room if you add them to your roommate group. But if you're the roommate group leader and you've added someone to your roommate group and then they've accepted it and then the group's verified, you as the leader can click on this return to room selection item and go back to the room selection process and add a room to your cart and then go through the assigned beds process, and that's how you can add that new member of the group to your room. And if you have any trouble with that, that's when I said you should probably just call our office and we can help you through that.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of questions come in about move-in day. So we will transition from here to move-in day. If you have any more questions about the assignments process, please, please, please feel free to email us or contact our office, and we're happy to have assignments coordinator or myself or Andy jump on the call with you and figure out how we can get you assigned into the bed. So move-in day, yes, move-in day is coming. It is on August the 8th for the majority of first-year students. That is a Saturday. And so you will be assigned a time slot to move in. And so you'll receive likely a parking placard that gives you access to campus. But during that time slot is when you should arrive to campus. And that way you can go ahead and arrive in a calm and orderly fashion. There will be about 1,200 of your newest best friends moving onto campus the same day. And so what we do is we try to limit the traffic flow coming in 2-hour intervals. And so that way you need to make sure you follow that time slot. We always give an opportunity. So let's say you live in Duluth, and so we give you the noon time slot. Well, Atlanta traffic is crazy around noon, so you wouldn't want that time slot. And so we do have opportunities for you to change that. Time slots won't come out until July at the earliest. So I would say you would continue to monitor your West Georgia email, but time slots will come out in July. Right now, you and your parents should go ahead and plan on coming on August the 8th and just block that whole day. And that way we can go ahead and get you a time slot later in July, because we do need to have more people in rooms so we know where the busiest places are going to be. We try to base our time slots based on distance.
I was going to say, we'll go into a lot more detail about move-in day at your orientation. And we go through the whole process with pictures and maps and very specific directions. So don't worry a ton about the logistics of move-in day just yet. When you get through orientation, you got basically an hour with you, and we'll tell you all about move-in day.
Someone wants to know, how do I sign up for a parking pass for your car? Do you know, or do you do it on move-in day, and is it free? So parking passes are done through parking services, and you can do that on move-in day. They are open and able to help people, and you'll just go to their office, which is located in, oh, Andy, what's the name of the building?
It's Rao Hall.
It's located in Rao Hall. And so you'll just go there. They'll give you a hang tag for your car and tell you, and they'll give you a map of actually where you're allowed to park with that parking pass.
Unlike many universities, including my undergrad and everywhere else I've ever gone to school at West Georgia, parking passes are included in the transportation fee. There is not a separate parking pass fee.
Someone asked, when are meal plans activated? They will be activated on move-in day. So move-in day dinner is typically our first meal plan meal that is available. We will have places open on move-in day. So if you have an earlier time slot and maybe your parents and you don't want to venture out into town, you want to stay on campus, we will have places open on campus, dining halls open that will have lunch services. But that would be by cash or credit card. Is there anything we haven't covered? We've got about 15 minutes left. Maya asked, why do I have to call for a certain meal plan? Maya, I'm honestly not sure. And so what I recommend is follow those instructions. If you're looking for a meal plan that maybe doesn't have something that you're looking for.
We got a question. What if you cannot make it to orientation? Orientation is generally required for new students, but there are lots of options. And so if you go to our orientation office's website and reach out to them, they have a lot of details available about the different choices for orientation, including some online options for certain students. So they're very flexible, and they'll work with you to get you through orientation.
We had the question of, do the residence halls have cleaning supplies? Right now we don't, but it is something we're actually working on getting back into the halls. We used to have them. People really didn't utilize them, and they got rid of them. And so we are actively working on getting those back for fall 20. And that way we can actually have those at each of the service desks. So you'll be able to come, you'll check something out, like a vacuum cleaner, hopefully, or maybe just some stuff to wipe down your makeup vanity or your sink vanity. So we'll have some very basic cleaning supplies.
going back to the orientation question, there is a separate webinar, kind of like this one, just for orientation coming up on Wednesday. And you can sign up on the admissions website where you found this info session. And there'll be the orientation staff doing this same kind of thing with all these great details. We got also another question about orientation. Is orientation overnight for students? Yes, you do spend one night on campus, and it is a 2-day program. But again, that orientation, you should definitely sign up for the orientation webinar. They're fun folks, and they'll have a lot of great details for you.
So we had a question about, do residence halls have internet? Yes, we do have internet. We have hardwired connection and that you'll register for. You have to register your device for that. But then we also have Wi-Fi. And that is in all the residence halls. There's access points throughout the halls. And so we do have internet available to our students. That is not something you have to pay for.
We got a question through the Q&A of, will roommates be given the same time slots on move-in day? No, not automatically. The time slots are based on how far away you live from campus is basically how we organize the time slots, which is usually a pretty good guess. But all residents will be allowed to change their time slot. And so if you do want to move in at the same time as your roommate, you can log in and change your time slot to be the same time as theirs.
Got a question here about the community kitchens that we talked about earlier. All of our residence halls do have community kitchens, but we do not have pots and pans and dishes available. That's something that you're going to want to bring. And so that way you can make sure that you have all the stuff you need to cook your meals.
We had a question, will there be room checks at any time? Or is this something we'll discuss at floor meetings? Well, we discuss all this at floor meetings. You're going to hear all this several times. There are monthly health and safety checks, and that's just a pair of staff members do enter all the rooms and just kind of lay eyes on everything and make sure there's no fire hazards or anything crazy. That's once a month, and those dates are announced at least a couple days in advance via signs in your hallway. So you'd be aware when those are happening at least 2 days before they happen.
Jamia asked us, are the community bathrooms in Bowden Hall co-ed? No, they're not. So they are single gendered. We do have public restrooms available for if you have a guest of the opposite sex, you would take them to that public area to use the restroom. But our bathrooms in Bowden Hall are not considered co-ed. And actually the floor in Bowden Hall is single gender also. So it would be all women on a floor or all men on a floor.
We got, I think, what is the question? Is there a pool on campus? No, there is not. There is, however, a pool rules sign. So if you're working out in the campus center in the rec center, you might see the pool rules sign. Don't let anyone trick you. There is no pool. There used to be a pool there, and so they left the pool rule sign up when they renovated the building. But that's just a mean joke they play on first-year students. Don't believe anyone that tells you there's a pool.
What other questions do we have?
A really great workout facility. So the recreation center and campus center is amazing. So don't let the lack of a pool make you think there's not things to do or ways to work out. There's a massive rock wall, a great indoor track, all the weight equipment you can imagine, group fitness classes, exercise bikes, all that kind of stuff.
How can I find a campus job, Andy? Do you want to talk a little bit about campus employment?
Well, I do love campus employment. Like I said when we started, I'm the manager of housing for safety and security. And so part of my job is that I run a very large student staffing program where Housing Residence Life employs about 300 student assistants to keep an eye on the residence halls and help the residents feel safe and secure in their living space. And so we're a big employer on campus, and the way we hire is we post our jobs on the campus job board on WolfWorks, and we accept applications from all of our students. We give a lot of preference, though, to the people who live on campus for housing jobs.
Absolutely.
And so if you want to work in the residence hall you live in, or potentially in one right next door, Keep an eye on our jobs posting. Our program is called ResStar, RESSTAR, Resident Students Together Assisting Residents. If you see a ResStar posting, that's us. That's the program that I run. And I would love to hire some of y'all. And freshmen can absolutely have jobs on campus. They're not just for upperclassmen.
We want everyone to.
We'll post those jobs to the job board probably in mid-May, if I had to guess. So keep an eye on the job board over the summer.
There's also a career services presentation coming up this Friday. I'm sorry, next Friday. Today is Friday. Oh, working from home, I forget what day it is. And so make sure you tune in. Admissions has done a really great job of lining up these virtual tours and info sessions for you guys. So please take advantage of them. You can browse them on the admissions website, which is likely where you found our info session. This session is being recorded, so if you have a friend that may have some questions, we'll absolutely have this available. And likely on the website, I think, if that's right, Dylan. And that way people can get the information that they need. All right, final call for questions. Give everyone about 60 seconds to type here.
This has been really fun. Thank you all for asking all these questions. I really appreciate the interaction. And well, Dylan just posted the link to the list of all of the information sessions in the chat. So if you look in the chat, there is a link to see all the options.
So one student asked a really great question. Why are you not allowed to have your own room? It's not that you're not allowed. We just have very limited spaces that are considered single rooms. The majority of our
I don't think that was the question. I think what he's asking is, what are you not allowed to have in your room?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, let me finish my question first, because I think it's a good, why can't I have a private room, right? Or why is there no private available to me? We want you to have the community experience. Living with somebody is so important because it's going to get you outside of your comfort zone and you're going to meet new people. People that you've probably never met before, or that you never would meet if you lived in your own room. And so we want to make sure that you are making sure that you are connecting with individuals. Another question was, are there movies provided in the cinema rooms? There are not movies provided in the movie room. So you will have to BYOM, bring your own movies, or Netflix, or computer, or whatever you want to.
The library does have some DVDs for checkout. So there are some options there. And the question, going back to the question of what are you not allowed to have in your room? There is a full list on our website under the contracts and policies section. So if you do want to peruse that list, but that is something we talk about at orientation and at your floor meetings, but basically steer clear of anything that is designed to be lit on fire. And that's a good baseline.
You don't want to, we do provide mini fridges and microwaves for all rooms, or apartment size refrigerators and microwaves. And so students should not bring any type of microwave or mini fridge unless there's a special accommodation through accessibility services that has been made. So make sure that you don't have to bring that. You won't have to lug it upstairs. If you have older siblings, your parents will be so thankful about that. We provide that to all of our students at no cost to them.
And Maya, yes, I'm sorry, that does mean no candles. Anything, Cassidy, what's that thing called that's not, it's like a candle but not, that's allowed?
The Scentsy. So you can do like a wax warmer, and that way you can have a wax warmer if you want to do that, or you can have the Glade or Air Fresh plugins. You can have an air fryer. You can absolutely have an air fryer. You can have a crock pot. You can have a George Foreman. If you can see a device get red, right? You can see the heating elements like a toaster, like a single burner, then yes, absolutely, you should not bring those. Can I have a Scentsy? Yes, you can have a Scentsy. Can I have an oil diffuser? Yes, just be cautious of where you put that in your room. You're not going to put anything in your room that creates steam underneath that smoke detector. But oil diffusers are fine to have in your room. You cannot have incense, so please do not bring any incense. Thailand, unfortunately, we don't allow individual refrigerator units or mini fridges, so you will have to share that with somebody in your room. All right, guys. Well, that is just about all the time we have for you guys today. If you have more questions or maybe you weren't comfortable chatting us during this session, please feel free to email us housing@westga.edu and or live chat us on our website. We monitor that Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and are very responsive on that website. We are so excited to have you guys here this fall, and we would love to answer any more questions that you have regarding housing and residence life, the application, selecting a room, or maybe you just are nervous and you just want to know more about campus. We will do our best to connect you to those resources. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, I'm Cassidy Nelson, and that's Andy Russell. So thanks for spending the morning with us.